Pyramid is arguably the most enigmatic.
This is my delicious raspberry rainbow swirl.
Don't try to hide that smile of yours. Open it wide and pop in a
If you take the location of the Great Pyramid as a coordinate,
Day, the men and women of America's Navy stand ready to answer.
when you consider the vast amount of information about the Earth that's encoded into the Great Pyramid.
When I was younger, with less responsibility and more hair, I would stay up late at night, smoke some electric lettuce, and watch reruns of Ancient Aliens until I fell asleep. I would giggle at the theories and occasionally marvel at some of the interesting artifacts and archaeological wonders they claimed had to have been made by extraterrestrials. Chichen Itza, aliens. The Nazca Lines, aliens. Pyramids of Giza, you guessed it, aliens. Hi, I'm Ken McPhail, and this is... Can you guess what nearly every archaeological site that ancient alien theorists suggest are the result of alien intervention have in common? I'll wait. Got your answer? Splendid. Did you guess classical non-European civilizations? If you did, then pat yourself on the back. You'll never hear Giorgio Tsoukalos say that the aqueducts of Rome, for instance, were created with the help of the Romulans. The problem with this theory is that even if the believer themselves isn't racist, the theory itself is based in racist ideology. But Ken, I hear you say, I'm not racist and I believe in the Ancient Astronaut theory. First, it's rude to interrupt, and second, shut up and let me explain. This all started shortly after H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds and the panic it caused. An astronomer and sci-fi writer named Garrett P. Serviss wrote a kind of sequel called Edison's Conquest of Mars in 1898. He wrote shit like giants from Mars had moved the blocks to build the pyramids, and that the Sphinx looked Martian. You know, like B-grade sci-fi flicks, but you had to read them. Wild concept, I know. So, Edison's Conquest was one of many works published in the late 19th century in which inventors of the time fought off alien invasions. Thomas Edison was a favored hero, and these fantasies were later collectively called Edisonades. Can you imagine people doing this today? Oh, wait. Anyway, then, in 1968, Swiss author Erich von Däniken published Chariots of the Gods, Unsolved Mysteries of the Past, bringing the ancient alien theory out of science fiction and into public discourse. It was one of the first popular books sold to suggest that extraterrestrial life had built the structures associated with ancient civilizations. 2 years before the book had released, Carl Sagan and, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sorry, Josef Shklovsky had speculated that contact with extraterrestrials might have occurred in their book Intelligent Life in the Universe. But von Däniken's theories were on a whole other plane of existence. Because of this book and others like it, the field of pseudo-archaeology continues to inundate the real study of archaeology with doubt and hoaxes. The combination of tabloids and NBC's In Search of Ancient Astronauts, which featured a cast of all white men, made von Däniken's book a bestseller in the United States. The show visualized the pseudo-theories in a way that allowed for broad popular consumption. As I stated before, many but not all ancient alien theories surround archaeological structures in Africa, South America, and North America. This fact has led many academics to see belief in ancient aliens as a dog whistle for racism. That's why you'll never hear a direct theory of aliens having built Stonehenge, because Stonehenge was built by white people. In fact, when most ancient astronaut theorists talk about Stonehenge, they say that humans built it as a landing site for aliens, because us palm-colored people sure are special. Now, let's look at and debunk some ancient astronaut racism. In 1969, Erich von Däniken was standing in the shadow of El Castillo, Chichen Itza's central structure. Here he had a revelation that he understood nothing.
I was standing before this great pyramid. I understood nothing.
So he cobbled together everything he could find to try and learn. Despite all of the key discoveries that had been made at the time, von Däniken came up with the theory that they had to have had help from extraterrestrials because he could not fathom that a non-white civilization could make such extraordinary structures. In reality, Chichen Itza was one of the largest pre-Columbian cities constructed by the Mayans of the Terminal Classic period. Located in Yucatan, Mexico, the site was a major focal point in the northern Mayan lowlands from 600 current era to 1200 current era. There is an abundance of architectural styles reminiscent of those seen in central Mexico and the northern Mayan lowlands. The city may have hosted a diverse population, which could have contributed to the multitude of architectural styles present. The city was also likely to have been one of the Tolans, or great cities referred to in later Mesoamerican literature. The ancient Egyptians were one of the Earth's first and most powerful civilizations, springing up from the Nile River in northeast Africa over 3,000 years ago. They built many great monuments, and the unique geography of the land helped them repel outsiders and set the stage for many of their military conquests. Their economy was founded on agriculture and flourished from a highly organized system that centered itself around the Nile River with a well-tuned, centralized bureaucracy. The economy was backed by labor and taxes, and the vast lands were controlled by religious institutions that held influence over politics and the economy. They had many great workshops, masons, and artisans of various crafts. They manufactured goods and created an extensive trade network to bring in luxury goods from neighboring regions. According to ancient alien theorists, though, the architectural and engineering precision needed to create the pyramids was beyond the ancient Egyptians. They believed that aliens guided not only the creation of the pyramids of Giza, but every pyramidal structure around the globe, from the ziggurats of Babylon to the step pyramids of Central America. They want you to believe that these amazing people couldn't produce some of mankind's oldest and greatest architectural and archaeological wonders. Now, why would they want to disparage the accomplishments of an ancient civilization by claiming they couldn't possibly have been advanced enough? Between 2,500 and 2,000 years ago, a group of 700 geoglyphs were created in the soil of the Nazca Desert in the south of Peru. They were made by people creating depressions in the desert floor and removing ferric oxide-coated pebbles to expose the yellow-gray subsoil. Most of the lines run straight across the landscape, but some are figurative designs of plants and animals. The line's total combined length comes out to more than 800 miles, or 1,300 kilometers. The lines are best seen from the air, but they are very much visible from the surrounding foothills, which brings me to my next point. In an episode of In Search of Aliens from 2014, Giorgio Tsoukalos and David Childress investigate Nazca, saying that the geoglyphs defy conventional explanation. Childress believes that the lines are a signal to the Anunnaki, who are in pseudo-archaeology represented as an advanced humanoid alien race from the planet Nibiru that came to Earth around 500,000 years ago. Bonker stuff, I know, but stay with me. This won't be the last time you hear about the Anunnaki or Nibiru. Ancient alien theorists have decided that because you can best see the lines from the sky, then that means they can only be for aliens to see. The desert people didn't carve them for any other reason at all. Nope, they were brown, so it had to be to appease some higher beings and bring them back. While I'm not dismissing that they could have been for religious purposes, I doubt they were because of ancient alien visitors, or with their help for that matter. One theory from historian Alberto Rosell Castro, proposed in 1977, gives a multifunctional purpose for the geoglyphs, classifying them into three separate categories: tracks for field division and irrigation, lines that are axes with mounds and cairns, and lastly, lines linked to astronomical interpretations. Other theories suggest that the lines were part of religious practices associated with the scarcity of water, which is crucial for crops in any civilization, let alone a desert. Despite not having a definitive answer, to just say it was because of aliens is to do a great disservice to an ancient culture and its laborers. In 1976, Zechariah Sitchin wrote The 12th Planet, claiming that the Anunnaki weren't gods, but actually advanced humanoid aliens from the planet Nibiru, which remains undiscovered. You see, they came to Earth around 500,000 years ago and constructed a base of operations to mine for gold. They then hybridized themselves with Homo erectus with in vitro fertilization to create humans as slaves. Now, if you think this sounds like Battlefield Earth, that shitty John Travolta movie, it's because it does.
We train man animals who don't need breath gas to mine the gold for us.
The home planet owns this planet. The gold belongs to them.
That's the beauty of it. Home planet doesn't even know the gold exists.
Where was I? Oh yeah, so the Anunnaki were forced to leave Earth temporarily and orbit the planet when the glaciers melted, causing the Great Flood from the Bible. The flood destroyed their base, and they rebuilt it, teaching mankind agriculture to sustain the amount of them needed to rebuild. According to Sitchin, the Anunnaki built all the monumental structures in the ancient world. He later expanded his fiction with The Stairway to Heaven in 1980, The Wars of Gods and Men in 1985, and The End of Days, Armageddon, and the Prophecy of the Return in 2007. In his last book, Sitchin predicted that the Anunnaki would return to Earth as soon as 2012, corresponding to the end of the Mesoamerican long count calendar. Seeing as how it is, unfortunately, still the year of our suffering 2025, we can conclude that this claim was bogus. While I do believe that alien life could exist outside of Earth, I don't believe that they helped us with mankind's greatest and most mysterious accomplishments. In the end, ancient alien theory is rooted in racist ideology, and even if you aren't a racist, you can still find yourself falling for its trappings. These theories always try to say that ancient brown people couldn't possibly have been advanced enough to move some big rocks or use advanced mathematics like geometry, but Stonehenge was definitely a UFO landing site built by prehistoric white people because we're special. Do you see how that sounds now? Ken, you're being overly sensitive. These are fun little theories. There's no harm in them. Wrong. These theories create a harmful image of the past in the viewer's mind. An image of darker-skinned civilizations being too savage, too primitive to engineer and build such fantastical things. But white people, oh, our ancestors didn't need help like theirs did. No, our ancestors were clearly superior. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to see more of my videos in the future. Have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.